May F1.
Welcome to
May
F1.
Oh,
First episode. Testing's just finished.
Yeah.
Bahrain's this Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Obviously, don't need to discuss any Bahrain race predictions yet because we know who's winning. Blah blah blah. What do you think of testing?
What do you mean?
It's thoroughly boring.
What do you mean? Yeah, it was terribly
I
boring.
mean, don't get you wrong. It's the first time the F1 cars are out in the season, and you want to get it going, but it's just hours of just hot. It's not even hot laps, is it? It's just the odd. Like,
No, I mean,
we'll try this, and we'll put a bit of paint on, and we'll go 5 seconds slower than we normally can. And
You fill the car with loads of fuel.
yeah,
unless you're Mercedes, where they are literally still as bad as last season, and that is so true. They're not sandbagging. Have you seen that photo going around? So it's there's like a comparison between Red Bull's flow of his paint and the Merc flow of his paint, and the Red Bull's flows all the way through the car really nicely. Mercedes just gets to a point and it stops.
Because Mercedes goes that fast.
That's not how aerodynamics
No,
works.
I can't think of an excuse.
The new Adrian Newey.
I can't think of an excuse to back Mercedes up.
I mean, in all fairness, they could be sandbagging, but I think with Russell breaking down and Hamilton being an old man, I think it's primed.
I know, but he was the second fastest time in the whole of testing. I know it doesn't really say that.
Yes,
that
and
long.
Logan Sargent made it into the top 10 one of the days.
You know what? That's the thing about
And you said
testing.
Logan Sargent was a good driver.
You know what? I rate him. I saw Williams. I mean, I know Williams the first 2 days, if I remember right, they kind of went balls to the walls for it. They proper went for it. Their car showed last season it's an absolute rocket. Like when they strip it down and they just say, you know what, it's going to be fast. It's a rocket. Everyone forgets about Australia last year where Albon decided, you know, to caress his tyres to victory.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
I think
Last lap pit stop.
they're coming. Everyone's writing them off saying bottom of the grid. I think that could be sneaky.
I don't think there will be bottom of the grid.
I think
No,
Alpha
I've got a
Tauri's
feeling
got that
that
sealed up.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
when you have the worst driver outside of Lance Stroll in your team, you've kind of messed it. Because Yuki Tsunoda is terrible. I don't know why they've given him a third season.
I love Yuki, but yeah, I
He's
just
terrible.
can't see it.
He's terrible. Don't get me wrong.
I mean,
he's-
it would help if you could see over the top of the cockpit, really, but you know, each their own.
That's
You-
just
no.
insulting to people like
you,
me.
you deserved every minute of that silence. You know, if I could have left it, I'd have left that for 10
That was an
minutes.
audience reeling in absolute shock.
No, I think he's bang average, man. I don't know. No, bang average is an insult to Checo Perez. Yuki Tsunoda is terrible. He's an awful driver. You look at the Red Bull Academy.
To be fair,
Out of everyone, I know why he got his seat. He had a half decent season in Formula 2, but other than that, should he have got a drive?
I must admit, we went to Monaco and we sat at Saint Devot turn 1, and it was like dancing on ice. The amount of pirouettes he did into turn 1,
Yeah.
he locked up was fantastic. It was a lovely show.
every time Yuki was like facing us
That's
because
not
he'd
there, is
sprung,
it?
I was like, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, that's why I recognise you from the airport. It's probably why.
That's it. Guys, I got all that footage you mean. Like, I'm going to need to get after them.
No, but
He's always on our flight.
even like last season, he did okay compared to Gasly. But Gasly showed he had an unreliable car and didn't care halfway through because he realised he was moving.
Yeah.
And then Yuki crashed into him at Silverstone, which people forget. Regularly was like a lap behind the slowest car. There's at least 3 races where I remember, I can't name the races because memory's crap, but where he was like a lap behind the slowest car. Maybe because of reliability, yeah. But you don't have that happen on 3 occasions without just retiring.
No.
I think after this season, I think Nick De Vries will carry the team.
1,000,000%.
When Alpha Tauri eventually do get sold, because let's be honest, it's going to happen. Why the hell is a clothing brand own a Formula 1 team? Palm
Well,
Rangers.
Benetton.
Yes.
Red Bull.
Red Bull's...
It's not
energy
clothing.
drinks,
It's not a clothing brand, but like an energy drink runs a Formula 1 team. Everyone said it in 2006 when Red Bull started. What the hell is an energy drink doing running the F1 team?
Yeah, but what was the clothing brand doing when the Formula 1 team?
I know, but it's a similar sort of logic, isn't it?
Benetton done it, and, you know, Michael Schumacher smashed it.
So what's wrong with AlphaTauri?
Them shit.
Good, simple.
That's terrible.
Can't argue with that logic.
I was reading earlier that ever since Dietrich died, ever since Dietrich died, he was the one really pushing for AlphaTauri to still be in the team. Obviously, it's Helmut Marko's brainchild to have a sister, junior team.
Yeah.
And now he's
him a
gone.
job.
What does it really bring? Because if you wanted to advertise the clothing brand AlphaTauri, you just stick Checo Perez in it. Because Verstappen and Ricciardo ain't wearing that.
Yeah.
And then you have them doing it. There's no need for the team. The only real need for the team is a junior team, and it's not even a proper junior team no more. Because one of the drivers is Nick De Vries, who's 28.
Yeah.
I think he'll have a good season.
Yeah. What I've heard is through the winter, he's been pushing the team
To get better, yeah.
really hard. apparently.
I've read that as well, and I think he will be a very, very, very. He'll carry the team this season.
Yeah.
Because I think Yuki will bottle it, as he always does. And I think Nick De Vries will be like, you know what, it's my time to shine. He'll have a really good start. If Andretti come into Formula 1 and take AlphaTauri's place, he'll be the main driver. If someone else buys out AlphaTauri, people forget Porsche are interested in Formula 1 and are very interested in Formula 1.
True.
They may not be an engine manufacturer, but they could enter as a team and have an Audi engine, Volkswagen connection. Or if it's just outright sold, I think Nick De Vries will want to give himself a platform to then go, you know what, come and get me. Which I think Nick De Vries to McLaren, Norris to Mercedes, Hamilton dies in a car crash.
Another Norris to Mercedes. What's going on?
What is going on?
Because I think Norris is one of the best drivers on the grid.
Yeah.
Easily top 5.
I wasn't talking
I
rubbish.
don't disagree with that. I just
No,
don't
he's-
see it
He just
happening.
didn't
No,
give
he
Lando
did-
Norris
no,
an
he did-
option to go to Mercedes.
Yes, because he will go to Mercedes. He's not going to stop at McLaren because Zach Brown's too bothered on funding the catering team than anything to do with the car. Granted, Piastri is still young. I really think
Only
he's
well
going.
spent, I'd say.
No, I think he's going to have a good season. Oscar Piastri.
As a Red Bull fan, Harry, I don't think you can talk about spending on catering.
That is a good point.
Yes, it wasn't a fat joke.
I wasn't going to go that far.
No, I think Piastri's got a good place for him to build and become a better driver, and then until eventually he goes to somewhere like Red Bull as a replacement for Ricciardo when he eventually takes over Checo's seat. I've got the future of F1 planned.
You got a crap memory, but the future.
He's like the agent of all the F1 drivers.
Yeah, trust me. In the next 5 years, you'll see Ricciardo take Checo's seat because Checo's bang average, and we'll talk about that in a bit. Because you asked me a dreadful question.
Yes, that I read. It wasn't my question that I come up with, just to make that abundantly clear.
Joel, what did he ask me?
He
What
didn't
did you
know.
ask?
He doesn't really, does he? Go on.
He didn't know.
Go on.
What was the question I asked you? Would Perez be a good number one driver at Ferrari?
No.
Ferrari.
Because Perez wasn't a good number one driver. You know what I'm trying to say.
Force
Force India,
India.
Racing Point. He wasn't a good driver. People forget that Checo Perez wasn't that far ahead of Lance Stroll.
Yeah, I mean,
He wasn't that far ahead that
let's
season.
be honest, that copy of the Mercedes, the Racing Point, Lance Stroll got a pole position that year.
Yeah. The only reason Perez got the Red Bull seat.
And the only reason Perez won that race is because George Russell had a puncture.
Yeah, there you go.
And Mercedes just forgot to put wheels on the car.
Mercedes forgot that they'd still got Hamilton's at the back of their throats and needed to make sure no one could prove that it's just a car. Not
That
the,
was a good time for the worst.
not the fact that Valtteri Bottas is an overrated as driver and can only qualify. George Russell, generational talent.
Actually, though, sorry to cut you off. Valtteri Bottas or Sergio Perez?
Valtteri Bottas every other week.
Valtteri Bottas.
Perez.
No, because Valtteri. This is my one argument. Perez is bang average across the board. He's fantastic for a team who just want points. A bit like a Nico Hulkenberg. All agreed? Because if you put Nico Hulkenberg in the Red Bull, he scores a podium.
Yeah.
Will he though?
Really? You know what I'm
I don't know the
saying?
way you keep betting on Hulkenberg. He might be in Red Bull soon. Beat Ricciardo to the
Oh, I'm not there.
Oh, you would.
Can't wait for that tattoo. But I think Checo's one of them drivers. No, I think Checo's one of them drivers where he's just calm, collective, will get you, be a very consistent driver if he's just average. At least Bottas is an average driver who can qualify.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Yeah,
got
he can
something
qualify.
like that.
You know what? He's definitely a Mr. Saturday.
Oh yeah, and on Sunday he's like, oh no, you go through, my good sir. Yep, carry on.
After you.
He's very well mannered. You got to admit.
Look like you're slowly spanking it after you.
After you, come on. And not to forget you, old chap. Come on, my friend.
You come around the outside as well.
Hey.
That was not dirty.
Well, we fought it.
I could see Checo ending up with Bottas next season.
What, you see the Joe?
You're replacing Joe.
Oh,
Because Joe Gagnon, another
Nah, do you know
He's
what?
terrible.
Do you know what? I think he will come. I think last season was a bit of a dead season, but I think he will come into his
He
own a
was
little bit. Yeah, but I think he will come into his own.
Everyone's like, oh, Joey had such bad reliability. No, he was terrible. He was just terrible.
I mean, the
You
car's
can't-
not very reliable and it's on its roof.
Yeah, you can't knock his roll over, really, can you?
Well,
I
George
mean, that
Russell
was
did.
class.
George Russell knocked his roll over. So the reason he ended up on his roof?
Yeah, but it looked class.
No, he did look good to me. No,
We saw
Entertainment
it
purposes, Joe Grignou is class.
my hope and prayer for Formula One is to get all f***ing pay drivers off the grid. That includes Checo Perez, because he was originally a pay driver. Don't get me wrong, I think he has earned his place.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah,
me-
he's
it's
earned
me-
it.
it's me being a
He's
bit
earned it more than
He's-
like Lance
he's
Stroll, hasn't he?
incredible.
Stroll, because Stroll's going to get showed up this season and he's going to get traded by Fernando Alonso. You're going to have to do some bleep. You're going to have to do some bleep in this episode. Oh, come on, Paul.
Yeah, it's taking a hit. It's going to take 2 weeks to edit this video.
And I think Tsunoda is going to be shot. He's not a pay driver, he's a Honda driver because, got Honda's called Red Bull, blah, 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 blah.
You've got a thing with that.
Because I know you're going to have to bleep it all. So that's what I keep on
You're
saying.
just doing this to take the mick.
And Zhou Guanyu is blatantly a driver bought in to help promote the Chinese Grand Prix.
No, we can't get to.
Yeah,
That you're never going to go to again.
I mean-
why would you go back to a place that's paying you half the amount that somewhere like Saudi Arabia or Las Vegas will?
Yeah,
That's true.
and ultimately, that's what they've been saying the last few years. It's not we drive as one. It's been a case of we drive whoever pays us the most money, isn't it?
I think it's wrong them going back to Saudi Arabia because you remember when last season the drivers got trapped there.
Well, they had
Isn't it
that
like a terrorist
explosion
attack?
go off, didn't
Yeah, they had an explosion go off and the drivers, half of them didn't want to race.
Yeah,
And the base have come and said, yeah, don't race. You ain't leaving though.
You
ain't getting hit the country. Yeah, you like these passports, you're going to drive that car. But why would you go? I mean, I can understand why they're going back to that place, but it comes down to some pure
Although
corruption.
they're not
Yeah.
meant to be at that track
I'm
for this
long.
season, are they?
Oh,
They're
I-
not meant to.
if they're going to stop in Saudi, I hope they stop at that track.
It is a good track.
Because
It is
it's
good.
the only hope of getting Lance Stroll off the grid.
I'm actually sad. That.
Crashing him into a wall.
I'm not saying how we're going to get him off the grid. He's just going to go
He's
off
just
the
going to
grid.
do Schumacher. He's just going to get sacked by Lawrence.
He's not gonna get under a missile, is he?
No, he might go under the barriers though.
That is true, yeah.
No, but all taking the piss. It is a very entertaining race to watch.
It is, yeah.
It's not a good race to watch
Entertaining
because
qualifying.
yeah, and it's also entertaining overtaking. I can't lie. There's a lot of good overtakes.
Yeah, that turn one is.
Yeah, Fernando Alonso. I can't actually have vivid in my memory of them two just going head for head.
It's like, I'll admit, and this makes me feel sick to the pit of my stomach, but Verstappen's qualifying lap in 21.
Oh, the one
Oh,
that was never to
Where he hit the
be.
wall.
Hated that lap with the passion as
Until
I
it
was
hit the wall.
watching it. Until it hit the wall and it became one of the greatest moments of my life. But that track for qualifying, like what Verstappen did in 21,
It is one of the most.
also class.
I mean, people say that Monaco's a qualifying weekend. It is still a boring qualifying.
Yeah.
As at least that Saudi, it's fast and it's dangerous.
It's ruthless, isn't it?
Massively ruthless. I can't see ever being taken off. So I hope if we're going to go there, you're going to get entertainment.
And we've got Qatar this year as well. We're going back to the sale, aren't we?
That's a terrible track.
I wonder how that's going to be, like with the curbs and the new cars, because they had a big problem this year just gone with like broken front wings on curbs and stuff like
Yes, you know what?
And-
That's a really good point. That's a
and-
really good point.
that. With the bigger importance of the floors, if they take too much curb, then they're going to mess up the floors.
They
aren't
can't alter the curves because they have the MotoGP there.
Yeah.
And they have a regular MotoGP there.
So it'll be interesting to see how that gets on this year. To be fair,
Am I right in thinking that Formula 3 drove there? Or Formula 4?
I'm not sure.
Or is it Formula Asia? One of the formulas have drove there in the
Not
past
gonna
because I remember Yuki has drove at the track before, And on the grids, when they first drove there, he was one of the only drivers to have actually, or I might be wrong on the exact driver, but there was one of the drivers who drove there before, and one of the only ones to do it. So, he might be better off with
Are
Greg.
you saying Yuki's going to come into his own then?
No, no. He'll be sacked by then, and someone like Awasa will be in the car.
Oh, what?
Awasa?
Awasa?
Yeah.
Awasa.
Another Red Bull Junior.
A Red Bull Junior that's going to please Honda.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean.
And he's meant to know all the shit.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, what am I on about,
Yeah,
mate? I know what I'm on about, mate.
Supposedly.
No, I don't think Yuki Tsunoda's going to be a surprise package this season. I think he's going to be regular.
No, I think you're just seeing that glimmer of hope from him now after 2 seasons. You know, the first season you can sort of take it with a pinch of salt in a way, at least the first half of the season, and say, well, you know what, he's still settling in, he's still young, he's still angry and aggressive.
That's not an excuse anymore, though.
But it's not an excuse anymore. So you will see it's sink or swim this season.
Yeah, definitely. What do you guys have any surprise packages? There's a good few rookies on the grid this year. Piastri, Sargent. There's one more, and I can't think of him.
I still can't make my mind up about Piastri.
No, there's not one more. Yeah.
No,
Oh, why? He's done. He took the same path that Leclerc and Russell took
yeah.
to the top.
Doesn't mean he's going to be great, though.
I don't know whether
don't know
it's
what it
because
is.
he's had that year out and the hype around him has just sort of dropped a little bit.
But then you don't know if he's going to be like Lando Norris or Lewis Hamilton, come into McLaren in rookie year and do a good job or smash it.
Unfortunately, the way the McLaren looks, it doesn't look like he's going to be tearing
He's
anything
going
up
to
this
end up
year.
like Stoffel Van Dorn.
Yeah,
And no one wants to end up like Stoffel Van Dorn.
I don't know.
I mean, he's Formula E world champion.
I think he's a bit unlucky that Djokovic got a seat over him because he's also Aston Martin's
Yeah,
reserve.
do you know what? I
and
rate
he's
it.
got Formula 1 experience.
Do you know what? I do hope he does replace Lance this weekend. Just to see
No,
his
he's been
potential.
confirmed Djokovic.
Djokovic.
I mean, that's been
Yeah,
confirmed.
yeah.
Apparently.
Well, if Lance Stroll can't make it, it'll be
Well, yeah, that's what I
And,
mean.
and Lance Stroll's got 2 broken wrists reportedly.
2 broken wrists.
2 broken wrists. So it's if that is true and he's got 2 broken wrists,
Oh, he's got no
he
chance.
ain't back till after Imola,
No,
No.
there's a few races into the season, aren't we?
which is also going to affect his standing within the team. I know his dad owns it, so he's not going to lose his seat.
Well, yeah, this could potentially be a massive wake-up call.
Yeah,
For
to
like-
say, hold up,
Well-
this new kid Djokovic. Granted, he's the Formula 2 world champion, but he's come in, smashed the old gaff about, done amazing, kept up with Fernando Alonso. My son's come back in, and he's full.
Well,
You can say what you want about your own kids, can't you?
Oh, yeah, but you know what I mean.
well, it will give you that at least comparison there. Like you'll see that, like Lance Stroll, he's performed in a way.
But that's if the broken wrists is
Yeah,
true.
and at the end of the day, I mean, as we said earlier, like Lance Stroll in the Racing Point actually did all right. So if this Aston Martin,
I wouldn't even say all right. Okay, you got a couple of
he
podiums.
could have done better.
and,
Could have done
he
better.
got
But,
pole in
like,
Turkey.
ultimately,
Yeah,
let's think about it. If Aston Martin get podiums this season, they're successful.
Yeah,
I think they will.
Especially considering the dominance of Red Bull, and then if it's not Ferrari, it's Mercedes.
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 well, did you?
Like,
that,
you're just not going to get any other podiums. So, as a team outside the top 3 to get a podium, that is a successful race, isn't it?
Did you see that Ted Kravitz clip where he compared the pace of the Aston Martin to be, if not faster, than the Hamilton boys,
Unfortunately, I did.
which is quite funny.
Well,
I wouldn't say funny.
they've got,
It's hilarious.
they've got
So
the Mercedes package, and they've got the Red Bull Aero, haven't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's face it.
Mercedes
They
reliability.
should
in the
dominate this year, then,
So,
don't they?
in essence, they should have the best of both worlds, shouldn't they? Really.
engine. Oh,
But then they have got Lance Stroll. So they
Yeah.
haven't.
but they haven't got him for the first
And they
few
haven't got him
races.
just yet.
And they've got Fernando Alonso, who is at 41, 42, a supreme driver. Let's face it.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you. He's absolutely incredible at the moment.
He actually agreed with one of us
Yeah,
on
actually,
something.
No, I always.
I'm
agree
glad
with
I'm
you.
filming
Yeah,
that.
I agree
with
with
me,
you.
because you're the
I agree with
delivery.
you. You just come out with more than me, and I'll come out with some crap.
And you come out with all sorts.
What was the one? What was the one I sent over the WhatsApp earlier? The fact that if Perez didn't win in that Sakir Grand Prix, he'd be in the back of the grid in IndyCar.
Yeah.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, you know, after the question, that's what I said.
I didn't see that.
Perez is bang average.
He probably would be an IndyCar.
I think I just saw you waffling, so I just gave up.
Moans at me that I don't reply in the chat. Moans at me that I don't do anything. The second I
But
start
then
doing stuff.
when he starts chatting shit, nah, I don't hear it. Save it.
I mean, I think I think there's a potential there of it's going to be. I think it's going to be a really exciting season this season.
Yeah,
I think you're going to have a few surprise packages in Williams. I think they're going to come through. I think they're going to be a regular point scorer. Same with Haas. I think there is going to be a full midfield bar one team. I think as we discussed, AlphaTauri.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be very competitive. I think Aston's going to be up there fighting with McLaren for a shot at the top three. I think Alpine's going to massively fall off. I think Ocon's going to underperform.
Yeah.
I think Gasly's going to underperform. I think the team, if you look at the comparison to their pace last season in the F1 testing, every team's improved.
Apart from them,
Apart from Alpine,
yeah.
They actually got slower, which is a massive thing when you consider they was a top four. They was a 12th best team last season.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely.
They was massively improved as a top four.
You never know how to judge it though in testing, really. I know it's comparing this testing to last testing, but obviously they've developed somewhat throughout the season. But it's difficult to really gauge it, whether they're putting 100% into it, whether they're doing a heavy fuel run or something like that. In theory, they should be faster still, shouldn't they? Everyone else has got like
there's no aero
minimum
changes.
of 8/10 faster. So
yeah, Williams was like 2.7 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, they was really slow.
So the fact that they've actually got somewhat slower is quite concerning.
I think it's something like put a tenth slower, which is like quite concerning.
Considering they've got a stronger driver lineup this year.
Oh, stronger.
Well, the stronger is in that like Ocon's more experienced.
It's more French.
I'm not in any way saying that Alonso is any worse than Gasly and Ocon. Obviously, Alonso is far, far better. But
they have a younger team.
He's just volatile, isn't he, Alonso, for a start? And like
and Ocon's not.
They've got a younger.
Ocon's tried to kill him at 3 points last season.
Within the space of 4 races.
You look at Alonso's career, and he's never stopped at a team. He's never actually been at a team and been comfortable. Perhaps Renault when he won his titles.
And you think Aston Martin's going to be any different? Where if him and his son have another crash and Fernando goes, I think that was his fault, sacked. That's as simple.
No, I don't disagree, but what I am saying is the driver lineup is stronger, as in it's more stable and they've got more longevity.
Longevity, I agree with. Stability, I think they still have a little bit of beef with each other. Because every time they do like a press thing, they're standing next to each other like, hey, best friends. Yeah, best friends. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
I think they will fall out, but I think
it'll be exciting if they get into, because like, Bahrain is a good test. When they get to Bahrain, if they can get some tangles in turn 1 and turn 3 and some side by side action.
It's also a lovely track.
It's
I do love watching
It's one of the
Bahrain.
best tracks of the calendar.
I can't knock it.
Taken. Absolutely.
Nah, I can't knock it.
Controversial opinion. I like it better as an opener than Australia.
Yeah.
Because Australia's a boring race at 6 o'clock in the morning.
That's because you're still out or you're hungover by that point.
No, I'm hungover by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But at least at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm hungover.
At least I can still watch it.
I'm still hungover when you got the American races that happen at 10 o'clock at night. I'm still hungover then, but at least I can watch it. No, but then it's still a boring race. Australia's a little bit.
Australia's just got a good.
I mean, perhaps helped by the fact it's a night race. Perhaps helped by the fact it's the season opener. You know, Bahrain is
And that turn
maybe even top 5 races of the year. It's a big shout.
That's a stupid shout. Not a big shout. That's a ridiculous, insane, stupid shout.
Do you not think so?
Azerbaijan, Interlagos. I'm going to put Kota above it. I'm putting Silverstone above it. Yes, by far.
Yes!
Silverstone, Monza,
Yeah,
Interlagos.
Interlagos, Azerbaijan, Kota. Do you want me to carry on?
I don't know.
China.
It produced some good races, to be fair.
It can do.
When it was going, the Malaysian track. Can't think of the name.
Yeah,
of it.
Malaysia.
I love Sepang.
Absolutely. Singapore, better race than Australia.
Yeah.
Nah.
What do you mean, no?
I mean,
But yeah,
Sure.
I think Bahrain is a really strong race. like you can at least agree on that.
I'll agree on that.
It's a strong race, but them 7 I've named, as you said, Spa, Interlagos, Monza, Silverstone, Azerbaijan, Kota, and there was one more, and I'm slipping my mind. Why is it slipping my
Did
mind?
you say Silverstone?
Yeah, you heard the 7
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
Are better than Bahrain. Right, Bahrain's a solid top 10,
Oh, easy.
and he's a
top 10.
solid opener because it's got so many sections that test the car in every single. That's why I think it's good for testing as well. It gives you the straight line speed.
Yeah.
It gives you the DRS zones and plenty of them. Gives you the very sharp turns. Give you the wide, longer turns that let you pick up speed in the corners. It helps. I think it's very good for an aerodynamicist, and that's why Mercedes really struggle. Right, Bahrain this week, first race of the season.
Yeah.
Any outrageous predictions?
Alonso top 5.
That's not outrageous.
But I'm going with it.
Ooh.
I mean, we should have really got the bookies' favourites up for this, but yeah. No.
I think
Alonso
the
top
most
5.
outrageous prediction I could come up with was Verstappen to win. Outrageous.
Anyway, I think, well, my top 3 would be Verstappen,
Obviously.
Russell second,
Ooh.
Hamilton going to the tyre barrier,
Ah.
Better against Hamilton.
Checo third. I think Russell will have some sort of a miracle driver. I think he's a very good driver. I think he will pull it out of his arse again, and he'll be incredible.
I
No
do.
Ferrari in the top 3.
I think Frederick Vasseur was shot at Alfa Romeo. He went from Charles Leclerc when he was there, regular point scorer, to them finishing bottom in 2021.
Wasn't it Haas?
Yeah, but they don't count that season.
Okay, fair enough.
When you've got 2 of the worst drivers in modern F1 history in your team, you don't count as a team.
To be fair, they quite easily finished 9th in the Vauxhall Corsa that year.
I found that quite funny. I think he took the team from there at one point, and it just very slowly declined, and they did. I don't think he's going to have a massive rotter at Ferrari, but I don't think he's going to be like the saviour. I think
He's not going to be like a Jean Todt, is he? A Frenchman coming in.
No, I think he'll bring back class. He'll bring back class. He'll bring back that cutting edge.
But he won't be like the glory days.
No, I don't think he'll bring the glory. I think somebody else will, but I think he will set the foundations for them to then go on and do very well. I think that's what will happen. He will build the team and build the team up for Leclerc maybe next season, maybe the season after. Definitely before the engine wrecks, because Ferrari are famous for their amazingly reliable engines. But I think on debut, off topic a bit, Logan Sargent points.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
They've got a really fast car in a straight line. I mean, Nick De Vries at Monza and Albon in many races last year.
Couldn't think of one specific, could you?
No. Australia.
I was trying to think of one.
But you just couldn't overtake. It was absolutely, behind the Red Bull, they were them and maybe Alpine.
Imola as well, if I'm not right. He didn't score points, but he did keep a lot of drivers at bay.
Yeah. No one could pass that. Considering that the Mercedes engine was meant to be the weakest engine last year.
I don't think it was the weakest. I think it was the most reliable by a country mile.
Oh, certainly, yeah, definitely.
I don't think it was the weakest. I think it was the most difficult to get right.
Yeah.
But they maximised it with they just went, you know what, let's get rid of all drag and let's just go right. You can absolutely rock it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what Alpine did in Canada.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Was it Alonso who was just unpassable? No, was it? It was Ocon. He was unpassable all weekend. Was it Leclerc behind him?
Might have been.
Yeah, and he just couldn't pass Ocon for the
To be
life of
fair,
him.
I know Monaco's not exactly an easy place to overtake, but Hamilton got stuck behind Alonso. It was just that straight line speed. I mean, Alonso, he's crafty, isn't he?
Alonso was a slow train throughout the whole season, especially when the Mercedes was behind him. Same with AlphaTauri as well.
Yeah, because Alonso knows the right way to think.
True.
Mercedes.
Anti-Hamilton he is.
I reckon I'll get along with Alonso.
At least for a good 5 minutes before he falls out. Yeah.
No, I don't. I think we'd have a great chat about how Mercedes are. They're all bad. They have no idea how to run an F1 team, just running a purely based business. And the only reason they've had success over the past few years is because of their engine.
Big shout.
Not a big shout. An aerodynamical change come in. They've chose a philosophy which blatantly doesn't work. I'm so stubborn to change it. And Toto Wolff is an absolute. No,
I
mate,
completely disagree.
Not right. That was not right, mate. Could you have the read off?
I
Red
completely
Bull fan
disagree.
talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no,
Who's deluded now?
No, Christian Horner is the most. How do I put this nicely? He's like the cockiest geezer in that grid when it comes to. He knows, he knows how to be. He's got a bit of. I'm trying to.
Arrogance.
Yeah, the arrogance, and I like that. As Toto Wolff is just like so methodical, so like we want to get it all right. Just race. Don't be methodical. Bring it back. Like that's why I like Verstappen so much, man. He's just like he's grown up a bit now, but in his previous days it was like saw like Brazil wet race 2016. There you go. Saw a gap, gone. Saw a gap, gone. Saw a gap, gone. He didn't care.
Saw a wall, avoided it, gone. Clash drive.
No, he was but that's because Hamilton has lost that from his game. Early Hamilton, absolutely phenomenal to watch. He was when he was a rookie, bringing it through his first title win, phenomenal. Gone to Mercedes, they've just
Phenomenal.
What was I saying now?
Stop
I don't like
comparison.
Mercedes. They're too methodical. Get back to real racing, real on the edge, diving down the inside, up and then going at them again.
I mean, that is Verstappen.
And the
At
last one,
Bahrain last year.
yeah, well, you know, when he did. Every time he saw a gap, he went for it. Learned his lesson in Saudi Arabia. Made Leclerc look like a right mug.
To be fair, he did well. Yeah, did well in Saudi Arabia.
And the other 16 races he won that season.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't knock him.
I think he's
got
alright. I mean, I wouldn't say he's a great driver, personally.
I think he'll be, if he carries on his current trajectory.
For God's sake, Aaron.
if he carries on his current trajectory, got there in the end. He'll be held up there with Senna, Prost, Hamilton. Oh, don't admit it, he's got to be there. Fangio, Clark, Schumacher.
I was going to say, he's missed out Schumacher, one of the most famous ones.
Schumacher's third on my list.
Third on your list? Beyond who?
Verstappen as well. I'm joking. Schumacher's comfortably second. Senna's top for me. Never got to watch him, but every clip I've watched of him since and every old races I've watched, he's just.
You never got to watch Schumacher either.
Oh yeah, to be fair.
He already had 7 titles by the time you were born.
No, he would
He
have
was
had
close. He was close.
5?
When were you born?
2003.
6.
6 titles by the time the year you were born. Jesus Christ. Oh yeah, I love watching that Schumacher fantastic driver.
No, I've never said I did. I've watched a lot of old races because
Yeah.
I like that stuff. And Senna just.
I mean, I remember clear as day watching Fangio fly past down Corribank High Street. He was brilliant.
Comparative to me, you're closer. If you can't tell, I am the youngest by a country mile.
Most definitely.
But yeah, no, back onto this current race weekend. Definitely see Logan Sargent scoring points.
Yeah, where we got to about 10 minutes ago. Yeah.
Any other surprises you guys think? Any surprise points?
Djokovic
scores?
points. If he does start this weekend,
Yeah,
which is looking
I think
likely.
Djokovic is going to start this weekend.
Yeah.
I
I think he'll get 10th.
I think
10th.
I think, like you say, I think
I think that's
Alonso
fine.
definitely top 7.
Top 5.
Top 7's fair because if
Because if you think the top 3 teams, 2 drivers each,
Good point. Top 5.
yeah, so
and
who
you can
you
always
say
bank on a retirement here and
just
there.
quickly?
Top
5.
Who's dropping out in the top 6?
Ferraris.
Not
No. To be fair,
no.
no. A Ferrari will be in the top 6. A Ferrari.
So you think the Mercedes are going to be quicker than the Astons,
Yes.
but the Ferrari is going to be slower than the Astons.
I have a gut feeling.
Then just
Let me
Alonso.
be my deluded self.
That J2 he's just drank really was.
All
out.
those
That
E numbers have really gone to
No, I think if anything, if he does get top 5, it's going to be at the Merck's expense.
Yeah,
which is based off testing. That is, that's
I could definitely see one Mercedes being in the top 3. Definitely.
I'm
Whether
gonna
they'll
say,
both be in the top 5, I don't know.
yeah. But the only reason they got top 3 last season, and it was the only reason they done it, was because of 2 Red Bull retirements, which was an unrelated issue to anything to do with
History could
engine.
repeat itself again.
I'm
Yes,
going to
that
say
fame, that the famous thing.
Ferrari is going to crash this race, whether it be into another car or a barrier.
Into the other Ferrari, that'll do,
I
mate.
I mean, like turn 1, I think it's like the Carlos Sainz, Sergio Perez hurtling down to turn 1. They're going to clash wings or something, and I think that's how Alonso is going to get a top 5 if he does.
I think it all depends on how the grid lines up and how qualifying goes.
Yeah, definitely.
If they set up the car good for qualifying, I think Max will, because then they'll realise their downfalls won't make the same mistake as last season. I can see Hamilton and Russell both just dive bombing it into turn 1, thinking if I get ahead here, I can just try my best to try and hold on for a podium, if not maybe a top 6.
I hate to say it, here I am in all my McLaren merch. I don't think Piastri's going to get top 10. I don't think he's going to stand a chance.
I think they're going to use the weekend like a test.
Yeah.
I think they had so much go wrong for them in their tests, like it did it last season in Bahrain. They're just going to go, you know what, right off this race, we'll use it, gather some data, bring some upgrades, make sure the car's working, tip-top condition, go to Australia, Piastri's home race, get a point.
Get a point.
A point.
Get a
A
good solid
singular
10th
point.
place.
No, but
Season done.
I mean what I'm saying by a singular point, because when you consider you've got to guarantee that the Red Bulls are going to be the top 10.
Yeah.
Ferrari's top 10.
Mercedes.
If Mercedes have a car the same pace as Aston, them 2 are the top 10. So there's 7 places stuck up because you can't count on Drogovic or Stroll being in the top 10 because Drogovic is 2 new, Lance Stroll is dog.
It's not great. And
Whoever's ever said that Lance Stroll will potentially have a good season are really, really, really boring people and don't deserve the current job they've got.
Paul Lewester.
I was,
No, he's not got a job anymore.
I was referring to a recent F1 YouTube channel which has gone through a major change.
Oh, yeah, when it's selling name of that.
Which one? What the
The
one?
BTF1.
What
You gotta beat that.
what the F1 you want about?
Yeah, that's why they've called it that.
No. So I think that's 7 spaces stuck up. Then you consider Alpine, even though they've had a poor test comparatively, they're not
You've
going
got
to
to expect them to be up there. They at the moment, dare I say it, they've got a stronger package than McLaren.
I don't think you dare to say. I think that's quite a known fact because
Despite the fact that they've potentially lost time over testing.
and McLaren's such an unknown entity at the moment because they haven't. I think both Piastri and Norris individuals had the least time testing out of all the drivers. That as a team they had the least laps completed. They had constantly had reliability issues throughout the test. Something to do with their wheel arches, wheel bearings.
Yeah, I thought it was like the brows that go over.
That's it. That's the word I was looking for.
And they kept like falling off and breaking off, didn't they?
That's it, or pour something, didn't they? Just to.
Yeah, I think so.
It
So
just,
I mean, that's a bit concerning, isn't it?
It's concerning, but it's.
I mean, it's something relatively minor, but like you think, that should be all locked down by the time they get to the season. By the time they get to testing, there shouldn't be things that they have to worry about, should they?
I think it's just a simple thing of they've tried to mess with the wheelbarrows because obviously they hid their car floor for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've just tried to play with people's minds. They've used the wheelbarrows as like something to gain an aerodynamic advantage. It has gone completely tits up and it's just weakened the integrity of it. Can't withstand the pressure of the air. Don't think it's to do with the heat necessarily. And I think it's just flying straight off. It will be fit. I think it'll be quite an easy fix because they'll go back to last season until they can produce a stronger and more integral part of the car.
And I think going back to what you were saying about Logan Sargent, if Logan Sargent's got a top 10 finish potentially in him.
Alex Albon gets top 5.
yeah, Williams top 5, yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
You want to say that again because he yawned.
So what Harry's saying is basically when that crash happens between Perez and Sainz into turn 1, they're going to end up going out the race. Alonso's going to go through, get a podium, and then Albon's going to finish 5th.
No, I think Albon will get 5th on merit.
Okay.
No answer. No answer.
Rightio.
I give up. No
He's,
answer.
he's the most underrated driver on the grid by a country mile.
Yeah.
Deserves to be in that F1 seat in where Checo is more than Checo does.
Right.
What do you mean, He took the seat.
Nah.
He took the seat over practically a rookie. Scored regular podiums
Yeah.
for a season. Yeah, granted, second
2
season.
podiums.
That's fine. Better than Perez in his first few races.
I mean, Perez has won 3 races.
He's won Singapore. Granted, was an incredible drive. Monaco, all he had to do was a strategy Ferrari, which I think I could do.
He's not hard.
Yeah. And what was the last one he won? Azerbaijan.
It was Baku where Verstappen crashed out.
And then
And
Hamilton messed up.
Decided just not to brake.
There is only one very good driver. I really do believe that Checo is an overrated driver.
Yeah, but I think he's
He's a
better
good
than Albon.
second driver, and the reason why he's so solid in that seat is because he's a good support driver. He's a good support actor. He won't want to be seen as that, but ultimately he will do
But
whatever Red
he
Bull want
knows.
him to.
He knows what his job is there.
Yeah,
Does he?
He
though?
knows.
he's been
does he
employed
Does he though?
to get
He does?
Verstappen the World Championship, and he's done it twice.
I'm not saying he's always going to
No,
know what his
obviously,
job is.
Verstappen's done it
I
as
think
well.
I think that's going to change this season. I mean, you
Yeah.
see, I think most people seen the new Red Bull advertisement packaging going around on their cans of Red Bull with Daniel Ricciardo and Max Verstappen on, just completely
No
relieving
check.
their
The only
second
good thing
driver.
about Red Bull,
have to
Daniel
say-
Ricciardo.
With my
We
Daniel
love it.
Ricciardo merch on, I have to say I'd be absolutely buzzing to see him back in F1. I think he's a more talented driver, absolutely, more so than Checo.
If he accepts that he's a second driver to
Yeah,
Verstappen,
but that's going to
he will be 10 times the driver of Checo. That
But
I think that's
the
granted.
issue lies where he left Red Bull in the first place because he at the time was at least probably equivalent, if not competitive, with Verstappen,
But Red Bull showed,
and Red Bull showed their allegiance to Verstappen,
And
understandably so.
they've showed that's paid dividends in now that Verstappen
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
grew into a generational
and no
talent.
one can dispute that, and no one could have disputed it at the time. I don't think, even though Daniel Ricciardo was an immense talent. However, you do have to say, if he left Red Bull for that reason, is he going to go back into a seat, or is it going to be a case of, you know what, I'm not in a seat at the moment. You know, a second seat is better than no seat at all.
I think he has to realise now that he's either going to drive for the likes of Haas or drive as a second driver. That's simple as. The only way he's going to get into a seat where he will be a team leader is in IndyCar.
Yeah, probably.
He's moving away from F1 because he's had 2 chances. He took it with Renault. Started falling off towards the end of it. The start of it wasn't a perfect driver, but picked up podiums towards the end. Gone to McLaren. Yeah, he got that 1 race win. Showed he still has the potential to do it. I think McLaren are a worrying place to be at the moment,
Yeah, definitely.
which is why me and Joel both back Norris to Mercedes.
Yeah. I think it does seem at the moment McLaren is a bit of a poison chalice.
When you put it like that, yes. But I just still can't see it.
At the end of the day, drivers want to be where they're winning, regardless of whether they've got 7-year contracts or whatever.
So why was Latifi at Williams?
Money.
Well, ultimately, they want to be where they're winning, but
They need
Latifi's
to be able
not
to
gonna
pay
win.
wages. Yeah.
Latifi could have raced for Red Bull last year and not got a podium all year.
Yeah, you know what? That's a fair share.
Yeah.
Fair share. I also think Norris is more consistent than Hamilton.
Really?
Yeah. Hamilton hasn't been the same since he had COVID. He has,
No, it did knock him about, to be fair.
and he has major lapses of where he makes major mistakes now.
Last season, I will admit, he made a couple of mistakes. Didn't
And
he?
the season
that you
before
just
that?
don't expect him.
If
He
it-
made that mistake at Imola. He made
made
that mistake at Singapore. He went straight into the barrier.
Yeah, and there's the one where the season where he deservedly lost the World Drivers' Championship in 2021. He made the mistake at Silverstone. That was Hamilton's fault. Say what you want.
Yeah, I disagree.
Attempted murder.
say what you want. He did the same move with Leclerc. Didn't make the mistake.
Leclerc's a better driver.
Absolutely, that's what we can gain from that. Thank you very much.
End of story, 2 against 1. Drop it.
Leclerc went, no, mate, I choose life, and moved out the way.
Because he's
but,
got
like,
sense.
The thing is, Leclerc is a lot more of a forgiving driver than what Verstappen is.
Yeah.
But I think that it showed with the penalty.
But then
the
again, you
weak ass
could
penalty.
argue that's why Verstappen's a world champion.
Yeah.
And that's
But-
why Leclerc's not.
But it showed with the weak ass penalty it was Hamilton's fault. It was given on Hamilton's fault.
Yeah. And he still won the race from 10 seconds down.
Regardless, I'm not disregarding him as I'm not
Blitz
disregarding him as a bad.
test.
I never said he was a bad driver. I said he's becoming an inconsistent driver at old age, and you can't. Well, no, he's getting older. He's getting on. He's older than Vettel. Vettel's just retired. I don't think it's a crazy shape to say he's becoming more inconsistent. I'm not saying he's majorly inconsistent. That he's up and down and up and down.
Yeah, I wouldn't
But
say
he has-
majorly.
Yeah.
He has races where he loses concentration and messes it up for himself.
Yeah, I was watching Jenson Button talking the other day, and he said at the end of the day, he doesn't expect Lewis Hamilton to actually last that long either. Because he says if Mercedes don't turn it around this year,
Oh no,
he
he
said
won't give
at
up.
the end of the day, as much as you might love F1, love being F1, especially drivers like Lewis Hamilton, they want to be in a winning seat. They want to be.
And
a
Lewis
winner.
Hamilton doesn't.
And
doesn't
Jenson Button said, that's why he retired, because he didn't want to be there in the midfield, just sort of turning up to make up the numbers.
But Hamilton doesn't need F1. He has ambitions outside of F1, which he has clearly shown.
Yeah.
He doesn't need F1 to give him that buzz.
Do you think he will sign a contract for?
No.
Okay.
I think Norris will go to Mercedes. I think.
Do you want to have a bet? Oh, look at his face. He
He's
wants
tempted.
on.
What would be the forfeit though?
We will discuss this off camera. Because
No,
the last,
it's
If
not
I
on
win,
camera.
I get the tattoo lasered and removed.
the last time we did this in the pressured environment, you ended up getting a tattoo. So let's
And it's coming.
let's do this off camera. But no, I think Norris will move to Mercedes. I think that's a fair point because this season he will show in a McLaren, which I think will underperform. All granted, he will be a very good driver and a consistent driver and a consistent point scoring driver to help that team develop a, quite frankly, at the moment, shockingly bad car for where they want to be into a position where they will be at a competitive team.
Yeah.
And I think he will train Norris to become that driver. Train Piastri to become that driver. Piastri's an amazing raw talent.
So do you think that Piastri is going to give Norris a run for his money this year?
Towards the end of the season, yes. I think at the start of the
If
season,
it picks up, yeah.
towards the start of the season, he will take water to bedding. It does with every rookie. You'll see that with
Yeah.
Sargent, everything this year.
Except Lewis Hamilton.
I think. I do think it will take him a while, but as soon as he's back into the flow of things, he'll be spot on.
Mhm.
He'll be, competing with the big boys when McLaren have got there.
I hope so. It'd be good to see. But I do agree with you in that sense. At the end of the day, if Mercedes have ambitions to remain at the top, they're going to want the best drivers. So I mean, Ocon, I think is a decent driver, but is he a top driver?
He
Would
should-
you be better off getting Bottas back?
Yes,
No.
for pure conflict reason. You
Not,
would
not just
you-
even conflict for the fact he knows a team, he can just step straight back in.
I
Would
don't
he
think
go
that-
back there?
I don't know. I don't
think
think.
he
I
would.
don't think Bottas will because he looks a much happier bloke outside
Yeah.
of it. I mean, he showed his ass multiple times since leaving Mercedes. But I
Ground
think
him on it.
I do agree with Joel in the fact of they would be better off going for Bottas over Ocon. Ocon brings trouble everywhere he goes. Good driver, but not good enough to risk that.
Mhm.
As having Rosberg and Hamilton they both was good enough drivers to say,
Yeah.
what, I'll have all the shit they bring.
Oh yeah,
They're
absolutely.
two quality
And-
drivers. We can cope with that to get the results they're getting.
Mm.
Ocon doesn't offer that.
No, and I think if anyone's going to go to Mercedes, it's going to be either someone currently in McLaren, Ferrari, or Red Bull.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think there's anyone else on the grid that currently qualifies to be a Mercedes driver, providing that Mercedes want to remain at the top of the grid. I think you've got Piastri, if he can really kick off and really produce performances like we all expect him to.
Yeah.
He's more than capable in that respect. Lando, obviously, we've mentioned. I mean, realistically, you're not likely to see Carlos Sainz or Leclerc go in there.
Leclerc maybe. if he was to
Verstappen,
end.
obviously, an impossibility.
I wouldn't say an impossibility. Money talks.
I mean, Ricardo, maybe.
Not a chance.
No.
That's more of an
But,
impossibility than Verstappen.
he's tied to Red Bull now, isn't he?
Yeah.
So really, I think the only sort of feed is McLaren, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree. So, to tie it all up, I want your podium, I want your surprise points, just to reiterate it, and I want your stinker of the week. Joe?
Verstappen, P1. Perez, P2. Hamilton, P3.
Ooh,
Drogovic in points.
nice.
Stinker.
Who's
Sargent beats Albon.
Oh, I like that. Joel?
Verstappen win. It's got to be, hasn't it? Really. I'm going to say Leclerc second, and Perez third.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't think the Mercedes is quite strong enough at this point.
Oh, you'd love to see.
And let's face it, the only reason they got podium last year in Bahrain is because the Red Bulls broke down. You know, it could happen again. It doesn't look very likely though.
Not at all.
Surprise package, like surprisingly good. I would say if they can get the car right, Albon can push potentially for top 7, top 8 finish.
Oh.
Maybe. And I think stinker of the week's got to be Piastri. As much as what I've just said, I just don't.
No, I
think
I
the
understand.
McLaren package, first race in F1, I just don't think he's going to have a good race.
Nice. Well, I'm going to go for Verstappen win,
Obviously.
Perez second,
Obviously.
and holding up the third podium, I'm going to go Russell. I think Russell. I'm sure I've contradicted myself saying all those.
You probably have,
Probably
yeah.
have.
But
Yeah, but in all seriousness, I think that because I think the Ferraris might have a slow start, but I think they'll come good. I think Russell might capitalise on some chaos, something like that. Surprise package, double Haas points, because we haven't mentioned them at all.
No, we
And
haven't, no.
I think both of the drivers they have are underrated
Strong,
as
strong
hell.
drivers this time.
Consistent point
And
scorers.
that's what they need.
Know how to nurse a car. I know Magnussen likes to go gung ho, but he can nurse a car. And you know that three pit wall system gonna come into its fruition.
Right. Trust me.
And stink of the week, I'm gonna go with McLaren as well.
Mm.
They'll treat the weekend like a test.
Yeah.
And they'll both, I reckon, below 15, both drivers, trundling at the back, trying different tyre compounds, trying different speeds, trying different modes, just things like that, just